Hey, welcome back to the channel. Got a little something on the bench for you here. So this is the Whoopstor Vifly charging board. This is a 6-up. So we have 6 channels here with BT 2.0 or PH 2.0. Super excited to bring this to you. They do have a GNB 27 connector option, which I don't own any of those. But in this video, I want to do an unboxing. What do you get in the box? And then I want to get this done so that I can get this in the field and start using it and seeing, what's good, what's bad, really get to know it and understand its capabilities and whether or not it fries my batteries or does a great job of charging. Because currently I'm using 3 of these in the field. And I'm having to run a little pigtail adapter with the BT 2.0 from the PH 2.0. So it'd be kind of nice to, I don't know if you want to say update, because these have been around a long time. But I'm really interested to see how this dude does in the field. So I want to get it unboxed, show you what's in here, and then come back later with another video of, all the details. I was surprised that they sent me this as well. So this is their series board, and I don't know if they knew that I abandoned the parallel charging board. I don't use this anymore for whoop racing. I might get into a little bit of that in this video. But basically, I just want to unbox these 2 items here. What do you get? What does it look like? And then answer maybe some of the quick questions that I had. And then also some of my Lipos that I'm running. So we'll go ahead and unbox these, show you what's all going on. We'll do another video after I really use and abuse it. So stay tuned. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this box open here. Pretty amazing to get a hold of this and see what it's all about. I've seen it in the field. I've seen other people using it, and I've kind of wanted to get it myself. So Vifly sends a little thank you card, and then there's a little bit of instructions here of what each of the things mean. So we have what kind of battery it is. So high volt or low volt, so 4.2 or 4.35. I'm running 4.35 on most of everything. Input voltage. This was kind of the interesting thing, because this board here that I've been using, they've actually overstated the input voltage. Oh, here it is, 6 to 26 volts. That is an absolute lie. The voltage regulator, I don't want to really peel this off, but the voltage regulator inside here cannot handle 26 volts. I actually was using a 24 volt power supply running these, and I've melted a half dozen of them. This thing really performs best on 12 volts. So I'm kind of interested what input voltages we have on this one. We'll go through that in a second. Like I said, I don't really want to get into the functionality of this because I personally don't own it yet until now. It looks like we get a little USB charging cable. I'm not sure if it can handle data or not. It does have a symbol for data, so we can check that out. Type C connector. Quite a bit of hardware in here. Set that aside. Anything else in here? All right. So nicely packaged. Looks like when you get it, it's not going to be all smashed to pieces or torn up. Got a little protective lens. I usually keep those on forever, so it does have a little protection for the lens. I have seen it powered up. It looks pretty cool. So that's what you get in the box. Of course, this box is pretty robust too, so I like that. A lot of times I receive something and it's all beat up in the box. Nothing like having to send it back because of that. So in here we have 6 ports. So we have 6 BT 2.0 connectors, and then here on the side we have PH 2.0 connectors. One of my questions was, if you're in a 3.5, so you set this to 3.5 volts, let me zoom in for you here. So one of the questions I had was during the charge cycle. So if you want to start and stop the charging, you just push this button. Like I said, I'll come back later for more details of functionality, but there's a switch here on the side that goes to storage voltage or full. So if I'm in full, so I have my switch to the full position and I have it at 4.3 and I start the charging cycle, can I unplug a Lipo from one of the ports and plug another one in, and it will continue to charge that? And I found that it did. So that was one of my biggest questions, because that's really nice about these. You can unplug and plug in at any time and it'll just keep charging as long as it's up to a certain amount of voltage. So the other question in the field is if I plug something in at let's say it's 4.17 volts, can I plug it in and it will still bring it up to 4.35? So I'll do a follow-up video on some of those other things that I want out of a charging board. Inputs, we have the Type-C connector, we have a barrel plug and a XT60, and I'm not sure exactly if I would imagine this is for data to update it. So if they have firmware updates, that can be accomplished through this port here. And then of course you have your DC plug coming in. They don't have it labeled on the case anywhere here that I can see of the input voltage. So let me just go ahead and give you this in case you needed to look at it. Square that up. I'm sure this is on the internet somewhere. So these are all the different functions. So we have our power supply voltage can be connected to 7 to 21 volts. So that's the other thing. This one as well cannot handle a 24 volt power supply. So there's a lot of the 24 volt power supplies running around for like LED lighting, and people have converted it to run their. People have also used these 24 volt power supplies. These are pretty common in our hobby. You don't want to use that either. Just want to jump in real quick and show you the screen. So I'll go ahead and power this up. I have a 2S Lipo here. So I'll go ahead and zoom in on the screen for you here. All right, so zoomed in on the screen, got it from rolling for you. So 8.1 volts is our input voltage. So that's coming from our 2S Lipo. And then our charging rate is high volt and then 0.8 amps. And then you can change those by clicking on this button. So that would be 1C. So for a 300 milliamp battery, that would be 1C per channel. So this is showing per channel. So channel 1 will be at 0.3. And then if I want to do 2C charging, so if I want to charge at double the C rating, I can do 0.6 amp, and that's currently what I run on all my other charging boards when I charge up at the races. That way I can cycle the batteries as fast as I charge them, I fly them, and it works out pretty good. For storage charge, if we click on this little button down here, we can go change that to 0.3 because it's a 300 mob pack, so that's one charging rate. And then the storage charge is to 3.85. So that will be for each one of these channels. That's what it will charge to. If I click here to high volt charging, it will go to 4.3. And then if I click this down, it goes to 4.2. And that's low volt. So there's high volt, low volt. So 4.2. And then it's really, really cool. This is a feature that I was looking at, one of the guys that had this at the race. I was kind of just watching how it was functioning. I really like that each one of them show their voltages instead of having to cycle through it, because this current charger has this LED right here, and it would just cycle. So channel 1 would show you, channel 2 would show you. So if you're waiting on 6 channels to display, and then it would go through the USB and the input voltage as well. So there's 8 numbers that would go through in a certain interval, and it's you know, having to sit there and watch it is kind of a pain. So it's really nice that they put all 6 channels up for you to see. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if you can see down in there. You see there's some heat sinks down in there. Get the lighting just right for you so you can see down in there. They got another really long heat sink here. So I was looking at this in the field and I thought, you know what, this is something else. This looks like something that's going to last and not burn out or over or undercharge. Currently, the 3 charging boards that I'm using, they're very much like this one. They've either burnt out, like one of the cells are burnt out, or they over or undercharge. I've had some come off at 441. I've had them come off at 417. It's just very non-consistent. And then of course storage charging is kind of a bear because you plug it in, this reads out incorrectly, so you unplug it, you plug it into your checker, and it's, you know, you got to plug it back in, and eventually you get the storage charge. So it's kind of a pain. So that was the other thing about this that really kind of caught my attention, was you can flip this little dip switch down here to storage, and then you can, I don't know yet if this matters in storage. I'm going to assume not. I would assume that that would bypass that, and then you start the storage charge cycle. I'm really interested to see if it actually storage charges correctly. So that is something else I want to look at. So like I said, I've got some races coming up that I'm gonna be using this in, and then so we'll get that put into action. And then this device here is supposed to replace the whole idea about parallel charging. The issue with parallel charging when you're whoop racing is you might have one that's, you know, you really put the nth degree to finish out the race and you're at 3.3. You know, you're supposed to be at 3.5. We can get into that big argument, but basically you sagged your battery down and you're at like 3.3. And then another one, you might have crashed out and got stuck in some wiring, whatever the case may be. You didn't make but one lap. You got 3.94. You can't parallel charge those. Like it's just a disastrous outcome. Parallel charging all these different voltages just makes for, it's really tough on your battery. I've abandoned it. I don't do it anymore. If you do and you like it, then more power to you. This kind of answers that question. So I'm kind of surprised they sent this to me. But this is going to plug into your chargers. So it looks like we have a little information, another thank you. Everything's out of the box. I've seen this one time in the field, and I thought, man, that's really something neat. So I was kind of glad to see it in the box. So here is the bounce lead, and then this bounce lead has this, basically this knob is connecting to that. So that is quite a knob. So you can see here, you can change it between. So just looking at it in the field, I can kind of see that this is basically going to turn your 1S lipos into a 2S, a 3S, a 4S, a 5S, or even a 6S battery. So you can plug in all your different voltages and you're going to put them in series as if they are a pack. Does that make sense? So when you plug in 3.3, 3.9, 3.8, 3.7, 3.5, you know, that so on and so forth. If you plug in 6 of them, you just turn this up to 6S. And then that's the cool thing is your charger. So let me grab that. So like in this case, I use the Q6, which I've actually gone to the Toolkit RC M8S. But anyway, so you're going to plug in this bounce port. Now see, you have your ground on this side. So the Q6 takes the ground at the end here. Make sure I have a brand new connector. Make sure I don't bend my pins over. So that's how that's going to work out. So on here, you're going to set it at a 6S or a 2S or a 3S. I'm not really sure what the 1S, like what the purpose of a 1S would be. So if you turn this down to 1S, like I'm not sure why you'd want to charge one battery this way. But you might want to bang it with 3C voltage. I don't know. But in this case, I would like to have 6 of them. So if I'm getting ready for something, or I get home and I want a storage charge, I can go on here and I can storage charge and I can set everything. I don't know. Do you want a video on how to make this all work? All right. So let me know in comments about that. And then I was going through the manual, kind of looking through things, reading about this and that, and I didn't see anything in here that really stood out to me to mention here in this unboxing. Some of the things, pieces and parts, I didn't really see anything that stood out to me, except for one thing in here in the instructions. It says it has a max current of 1.5 amps. So this knob can only handle a total 1.5 amps, but they have a 5 amp fuse. So yeah, that kind of stood out to me, of, you know, kind of wondering what the deal is with that. Why would you have a 5 amp fuse and a 1.5 amp max rating on the knob? Of course, the duty cycle, the knob could probably handle over 1.5 amps for a certain amount of time before it melts or burns up. So maybe, half that, 2.5, makes a little more sense, but I'll get into that later. So far, everything looks like it's really cool, and I plan on using this. And the 6S, I mean, all of our Whoop batteries are like 300 to 450. You might have a 550. 1S Lipos don't really get into the larger ranges. I mean, 1.5 amp charge rate is a 1500 mAh pack. I mean, that's not something that we're going to have to deal with. So it seems like it's going to make a lot of sense and be a lot of fun to mess around with this. So let me know if you have any questions about that, and let me know if you have any questions about this. The only thing that I did say was in storage here. I was kind of thinking this doesn't really do anything. It actually does. So if you switch it to storage and you switch it up, it will charge, storage charge, 3.85 and to 3.90. If you switch it down, it'll be 3.80 to 3.85, something like that. So it's kind of under 3.85, over 3.85. So I'll go storage and then down to the lower of the two options. So anyway, before I go into this whole thing, I'm really excited. Thank you, Vifly, for sending this after I asked questions, many questions over months and months. I don't know if you guys know it, but my phone blows up. There's a lot of people asking questions and messaging me and emailing me and trying to get people's stuff fixed and whatnot. So pretty active in doing that. I try to spend a little bit of time to help people out. But if you have questions about this, it will help enhance the next video so I can answer your questions. It just makes the video that much better to do that. And if this video was informative or entertaining, helped you out, or whatever, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you hate it, man, you give me a thumbs down. It all works. Enjoy the breeze.